to air conditioning. It's not opposed to carpets. It's not opposed to high-rises or, any of the technological developments, cars that we have today. Islam doesn't say we must all ride horses or camels or donkeys. Islam doesn't enter into this area. It only enters into this area when the area threatens some other principle of Islam. For example, producing cars which will pollute the environment. Of course, Islam would insist that instruments which are being produced and used should not be ones which will destroy our environment. They should be ones which are beneficial. So we would support the concepts, the Greenpeace type of approaches to, reducing things which are harmful to our environment, that we have a responsibility to look after this world that we are created within, that we have been given a governorship over. Islam strongly supports that. But the fundamental principles which Islam addresses as laws, these are universal principles. When Islam prohibits alcohol, it has to do with the nature of man and alcohol, intoxicants in general. Intoxicants breaks man's contact with God, opens him up to Satan, evil forces. Intoxicants removes his shyness, his morality is broken down with intoxicants. He does things under the influence that he would never think to do outside of the influence. Maybe in his subconscious mind, but he would not do it. He would feel shameful to do it. In a state of intoxication, he may do anything. And in that state, he murders people with his cars and his planes, and people causing, how many lives have been lost by drunken airline pilots or drunken drivers? And all we have to do is look at the cycle of violence and death that happens in societies where alcohol is freely available. People, in the times of their celebrations like Christmas and the different celebrations, where they get intoxicated in large amounts, how many people lose their lives? How many lives are ruined and lost during this period? So the prohibition of alcohol, it's not going to change. Alcohol and its derivatives and those things which are similar to it, all of the intoxicants, this law is not going to change. The harm that it does to man spiritually, physically, as an individual, in a society, this harm is universal. So Islam has prohibited intoxicants across the board. So what we find when we look at the various prohibitions and commandments, they are regarding the fundamental nature of human beings and human society in such a way that they don't need change. However, there are, in the application of Islamic law, certain areas of flexibility wherein our knowledge will cause us to take different positions, but all of it's still based on revelation. For example, sugar. Sugar, for the average person, is not harmful. So according to Islamic law, it will be classified as permissible, halal. However, where sugar has been identified as being harmful, for example, to a diabetic, Islamic law will step in and say, this is haram or forbidden for the diabetic because of the harm that it can commit, it can do to that person. So Islamic law has a sense of flexibility there, wherein as knowledge increases, then other rulings may become applicable. And so you find that Islamic law, when it was applied back in the 10th century, earlier and later, that it did not compete or come into conflict with science as happened, for example, in Europe, because Mr. Richardson here, I'm sure, is questioning this from his own knowledge of history of the church, the struggle between the church and science in Europe, where scientists of Europe were burnt at the stake and tortured, etc., when they produced theories or they produced, new evidences which contradicted the prevailing beliefs amongst the Christians of the time. Whereas in Islam, what you find is that there is no contradiction between real science and Islam. Because the teachings of Islam, the Quran, is revealed by God. And what is real science is knowledge which man has discovered, which is from God. So there's no contradiction between the two. Contradiction may occur in the area of the theories, where people have different theories about this and that, which are not facts. But scientific fact does not contradict with Islam. And so we don't have that conflict. And Islam can move along with science, encouraging man to learn more and to utilize the laws which God has put in this universe, in this world, for our own benefits. So Islam is as applicable today as it was 1,400 years ago. There is no problem, and it is perfectly logical that it is applicable, because the rigid laws which are set are laws which are connected with human nature, which is rigid, doesn't change. The flexible laws which are set are concerning human society, certain aspects of human society, which does modify and change itself in time, especially in the areas of technology. But in social relations, human nature, as I said, these areas, really there is no change. And as such, the Islamic laws are as applicable today as they were 1,400 years ago. With that, dear viewers, I'd like to thank you for being with us in this segment of In the Light of Islam. I hope that the explanations which have been given were of some benefit to you, and I hope that you will continue to watch the program in its future segments and continue to write into us and share your thoughts, your ideas. The Islamic Center may be called, the Islamic Information Center may be called in Dubai at 358-190 to get further information directly, or you may write to me, Dr. Bilal Phillips, at P.O. Box 111, Sharjah TV, in the Light of Islam, Sharjah. With that, dear viewers, I bid you all farewell. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.